Discover the incredible moment a struggling dad spends his last dollar and unexpected steps in. Jack Thompson stood at the counter, the scent of peanut butter and jelly wafting through the small house as the sun dipped low in the Midwestern sky. His kids, Emily and Ethan, giggled in the background as he read them their favorite bedtime story, a simple tale about a brave knight and his loyal steed. He could feel the warmth of their laughter wrap around him like a cozy blanket. Jack had always taken pride in being a good husband and father, and with Sarah cheering him on, life felt balanced, even perfect. But that feeling was teetering on the edge. The factory had announced layoffs that week, the murmurs of uncertainty slithering through the streets of their small town like a cold wind. A decade dedicated to backbreaking work evaporated in an instant, leaving Jack's heart heavy and his bank account empty. In the quiet moments between the laughter, a lingering fear took root. Emily's birthday approached, and Jack felt desperate to bring joy into their crumbling world. So he spent his last dollar on a modest cake. It symbolized the love he wanted to preserve for his family, even as despair loomed. "Happy birthday, sweet girl." Jack smiled, trying to mask the tightness in his chest, his heart squeezing at the sight of Emily's wide-eyed happiness. But the smile was short-lived, overshadowed by the town gossip. Whispers spread like wildfire, casting doubt and judgment upon him. "Did you hear about the Thompsons? Can you believe he lost his job?" The words collided with Jack, every judgment a sharp jab at his already fragile self-worth. As the annual town fair drew closer, Jack knew he had to act fast. He gathered scraps of wood and dusted off his tools, reminiscing about the days of crafting beautiful wooden toys for his children. He felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps he could sell them at the fair, regain his footing, and provide for his family once more. Excitement bubbled within him as he set up his stall, but as the hours passed, his heart sank with each nonchalant glance from neighbors. Kids rushed by, their parents casting judgmental looks, hardly stopping to acknowledge the man who had once been their proud neighbor. Despite his efforts, the toys remained untouched. Each failed sale chipped away at his spirit, and the tension at home grew thick, threatening to choke the love he so desperately wanted to protect. Sarah felt overwhelmed, her silence louder than the chaos swirling around them. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days blurred together, a monotonous cycle of strive and struggle. Just as despair threatened to extinguish his flickering hope, a surprising presence arrived at his stall. Maria Garcia, a well-known CEO, had come to town for a charity gala. Intrigued by Jack's dedication, she approached, her eyes filled with a mix of sympathy and curiosity. "What does all this mean to you?" she asked, her tone inviting yet probing. As Jack spoke, their connection blossomed, grounded in shared values of resilience and determination. But Maria's keen observation about worth left Jack grappling with a heart-wrenching decision. Should he accept her help and risk losing the pride he held so fiercely, or continue the uphill battle alone? He stood at a crossroads, emotions swirling furiously within him. The choice he faced, to take a leap of faith or cling to his pride, loomed larger than the fairgrounds around them. The question hung in the air, electrifying the space between them. Would he allow himself to be seen as in need? Jack's heart was a storm of apprehension. Maria's eyes, filled with empathy, pulled at something deep within him. Could he really let go of his pride? It felt like walking a tightrope, teetering over a vast abyss of shame and vulnerability. All those years of hard work, of being the provider and protector, it seemed like they were now at risk of shattering into a million pieces. The fair continued around them, laughter and chatter creating a cacophony that felt distant to Jack. He glanced at the toys still unbought, each one reflecting a piece of his sinking spirit. "What do you think?" Maria broke the silence, her voice gently urging him to share. Jack swallowed hard. It means everything. I've poured my heart into these." He gestured towards the colorful wooden toys, painted with care and patience, each one representing a flicker of hope he had for his children's laughter. I thought if I could just sell a few, maybe I could keep things together. You know? Show them that I can still provide. He could feel the heat rising in his cheeks, embarrassment seeping through his tough exterior. There was something about Maria that felt safe, like talking to a friend, yet daunting because of her position. Maria nodded, her expression softening. I understand the struggle, but sometimes, accepting help doesn't mean you've failed. It might just be the first step towards rebuilding. Guilt gnawed at him. But in that moment, beneath the weight of judgment and expectation, Jack caught a flicker of realization. If he didn't take this chance, what kind of example was he setting for his kids? Would he teach them to fear reaching out when things got tough? Maybe he began cautiously. Maybe I could consider a partnership? I don't want a handout, but I could use some guidance. Maria's face lit up with support. That's a start. Let us explore how we can elevate your toys together. There's potential here, Jack. I can help you connect with the right people. As those words hung in the air, Jack felt a tingle of something rare hope. Together they stood, two contrasting figures, yet united by a common thread of aspiration. But just as Jack began to feel grounded in this new possibility, a familiar face emerged from the crowd. Jack, what are you doing here? It was Dan, an old co-worker, and the condescension in his tone was unmistakable. Jack's stomach knotted. He stood there, chest tightening as Dan's eyes flicked between Jack and Maria with a knowing smirk. The laughter of children faded into a low murmur as Dan determinedly approached, the air thickening with unspoken judgments. Did you take a break from working to sell toys now? Jack's voice felt trapped, but he steadied himself. He couldn't let Dan's sneering tone dictate his worth. His gaze shifted back to Maria, who stepped slightly closer, a silent show of solidarity. Just trying to make things work, Dan, Jack replied, forcing a confident smile. But insecurity clung to him, seeping through his bravado like a crack in a dam. Dan scoffed, shaking his head as he moved on, leaving weighty silence behind. Jack felt the urge to shrink, to run from the spotlight of scrutiny. I should go, he muttered, unsure if he was addressing Maria or himself. Wait, Maria said quickly, and he paused. The opinions of others don't define you, Jack. You have a choice to make. He nodded, battling the choke hold of a tempest inside him. This moment was a catalyst, and he could feel the tremors of change rock his foundation. He could stay hidden in his pride, or he could step into the light, vulnerable yet unbroken. But was he ready for what lay ahead? As the sun dipped below the horizon, Jack took a deep breath, the weight bated on his chest. With new resolve, he turned back to the fair, facing the crowd that only moments earlier felt so daunting. The choice was imminent, but the path was blurred. Little did he know one decision would set the stage for a transformation he never expected. What would it reveal about his family, his heart, and his unshakable spirit? Jack felt the warm glow of the fading sun against his skin, a contrast to the icy grip of doubt that had clenched his heart just moments ago. He faced the bustling fair, the lights twinkling like stars above, and for the first time in a long while, it felt like a place of possibility instead of judgment. Okay, he said, a newfound determination in his voice. I'll stay and try. He glanced at Maria, her smile brighter than the carnival lights. She gave him a quick nod, a gesture that felt both reassuring and empowering. As they approached his booth, Jack's mind raced, thoughts buzzing like bees around a blooming flower. Selling toys wasn't just about the money, it was about reclaiming his identity, about standing for something he believed in. Each toy represented a piece of himself, a piece meant to spark joy in the hearts of children. But as he looked around, he noticed the crowd beginning to thin. The sun dipped lower, spilling deep oranges and purples across the sky, painting a perfect backdrop for what felt like the last chance to make an impact tonight. Anxiety seeped back in, a creeping uncertainty whispering that he didn't belong here, that this was all a fool's game. Let us make this count, Maria encouraged, breaking his reverie. She stepped in front of a young family strolling by, her voice skillful and inviting. Hey there, you should check out these handcrafted toys. They're made with love and perfect for sparking creativity in children. Jack watched as she spoke, her passion infectious. It warmed something within him, and the noise of the fair grew more vibrant, the laughter more magnetic. Maria's energy lit a fire. He took a deep inhale, allowing himself to embrace the rush. "Hey," he called out suddenly, surprising himself. "You can't get toys like these anywhere else. Each one tells a story. Would you like to see how they're made?" The words escaped him without hesitation. The family paused, looking intrigued. Jack felt a flutter of hope as they approached. He brightened, showcasing the toys with pride, explaining their uniqueness. With each word, he detected a shift. The skeptical expressions softened, glimmers of interest igniting in their eyes. "Wow," the dad exclaimed, picking up a colorful car. "This is beautiful. Did you really make these?" Jack nodded, emboldened. "Every single one. They're designed for imagination, hours of creative play. They're not just toys, they're keys to adventures." Maria flashed Jack a knowing smile, giving him a playful thumbs up from beside him. He felt his confidence swell, no longer teetering on the edge of insecurity, but standing on solid ground. "All right," the mom chuckled, reaching into her bag. "How much for two?" As Jack quoted a fair price, he couldn't believe it. The family was excited to buy. With every exchange, Jack's heart raced, the thrill of connection drowning out the insecurities of the past. With each toy sold, he felt a piece of himself resurrecting, his spirit reigniting as laughter echoed around him. But just as the family turned to walk away, a tall man in an immaculate suit approached. Jack's heart skipped again, shattering the moment of triumph. "Excuse me," the man said, a hint of curiosity in his voice. "I overheard you. You make these? They're exceptional." Jack blinked, a world of possibilities opening up with those simple words. "Yes, I do. Mind if we chat for a moment?" Jack exchanged a quick glance with Maria, who raised her eyebrows, her excitement palpable. Could this be the opportunity he hadn't seen coming? A chance that could change everything? As Jack took a tentative step forward, the fair buzzing around him like a live wire, he realized this was not just about toys or a struggling dad. It was about a new chapter. Just as he was about to dive in, uncertainty gripped him again. What would this stranger want? Was he ready for what might come next? With bated breath, Jack prepared to uncover a path that could reshape his family's future. Whatever lay ahead, he knew he had to embrace it. But could he rise to the occasion? Jack took a deep breath, forcing himself to focus on the man in the suit. His perfectly tailored jacket contrasted sharply with the colorful chaos of the fair. Every instinct told him to retreat, but a small voice inside urged him to stay. This was more than just a simple encounter. It felt like a turning point. Sure," Jack stammered, trying to regain his composure. "What did you want to know?" The man smiled, a warm expression that seemed genuine, despite his polished exterior. "I'm David," he said, extending a hand. "I run a local toy store downtown. I couldn't help but overhear your pitch. Your passion is evident." Jack shook David's hand, feeling the strength in his grip. "Thanks. I love making these toys. They really matter to me. Each one is special." "Exactly." David's eyes lit up as if he sensed Jack's enthusiasm. "Toys today often lack soul. The handcrafted element is something people crave. I see potential here." He paused, studying Jack as if evaluating a new product. "Have you ever thought about showcasing your work in a store?" The words hung in the air, heavy with possibility. "You mean actually selling them in your shop? Why not? Your enthusiasm is contagious. Parents want what you offer, something unique." David gestured to the bustling fair behind them. "You could reach more families than you ever would on your own." Jack's heart raced. The thought of having a dedicated space to sell his creations felt surreal, like trying to catch smoke in his hands. It was a dream, but could he handle it? What if it meant putting his heart on the line again? But what about, my past? He hesitated, feeling vulnerable. "I mean, I'm just a guy selling toys. What if I fail?" David leaned in closer, his expression keen. "We all have a past. We all have doubts. But success isn't built on a perfect record. It's built on resilience. Everyone has to start somewhere. You've already taken the first step by putting yourself out there tonight." Jack glanced back at his booth. The toys glimmered under the fair lights, each one holding a piece of his journey. "You really think I could do this?" "Absolutely," David replied. "How about we set up a meeting? I can help you craft a strategy. You've got the heart. Now we can build something real." The crowd buzzed around them, laughter and music blending into a comforting hum. For the first time, Jack felt hope start to replace his fears. The possibility of a partnership stirred something inside him, a conviction that maybe, just maybe, this could be a fresh start. But what if I can't meet your expectations? Jack asked, his voice tinged with a blend of hope and fear. Expectations come with the territory, but I'm more interested in the journey than the destination, David said, his voice steady. If you're willing to learn, I'm here to guide you. So what do you say? Let us take this chance together. Jack's heart thudded as he weighed the opportunity before him. It felt monumental, like standing at the precipice of a new life. Suddenly, the fair around him felt vibrant and full of possibilities, a universe in which he could finally thrive. He glanced at Maria, who watched with a proud smile. Okay, Jack said finally, determination bubbling within him. Let us do it. As he extended his hand to seal the agreement, a sudden thought struck him. What if this was just the beginning? With every leap forward, would his past come back to haunt him? Could he rise from the shadows and let this be his moment to shine? Would he be ready for the challenges ahead? As he smiled at David, excitement coursing through him, the air crackled with electricity. Whatever came next, he was ready to face it, or so he hoped. The next day dawned crisp and bright, wrapping the city in a golden light that felt both invigorating and daunting. Jack stood at his booth before it opened, surrounded by the toys he had poured his heart into over the years. Sunlight glinted off the polished wood, and for a brief moment, he let himself dream. What if this really became a turning point? His phone buzzed, breaking the spell. It was a text from David. Excited for our meeting. Let us meet at the coffee spot at 2 p.m. We can discuss your ideas. Jack stared at the message, his heart skipping. It was just a coffee shop, yet it suddenly felt like a portal to an entirely different future. As he brewed a cup of coffee for himself, he felt the weight of expectation looming like a shadow. What if he stumbled over his words? What if David decided he didn't measure up? He forced himself to shake off the worries. Maria arrived, her eyes sparkling with a mix of warmth and mischief. Nervous? She teased, her voice inviting. What gave it away? The sweat on my brow or the fact that I accidentally poured salt into the coffee instead of sugar? Jack chuckled, trying to lighten the mood, but it felt like a heavy stone lodged in his chest. You've got this, she assured him, leaning closer. Just be yourself. David saw something in you. That has to count for something. I hope so, he replied, forcing a smile. I just want to be ready. This could change everything. As the time ticked closer, the anticipation in Jack swelled. He dabbed at his forearms, wiping away the nervous beads of sweat, and took a few deep breaths to steady himself. Soon, it was time to go. He made his way to the coffee shop, his steps quickening with each stride. When he arrived, David was seated at a small table, his laptop open and a coffee steaming beside him. David looked up and beamed. Jack, great to see you. Ready to dive in? Absolutely, Jack said, trying to sound more confident than he felt. They exchanged pleasantries, easing into a comfortable rhythm. As they talked, Jack began to share his vision, his hopes for his toys, how each was crafted with care, and how he envisioned communities coming together through play. David nodded, soaking it all in, the excitement building between them. This is good, Jack. Really good. But let us talk about the plan. If we're doing this, we need structure. What is your budget? Jack's heart sank a little. Well, I have some savings, but it's not much. He hesitated, feeling the familiar grip of anxiety. I'm down to my last few bucks. The fair was a leap for me. I really want this to work. You're passionate, and that counts for a lot. But we need to be realistic, David said, tapping his chin thoughtfully. We'll need a loan or investors to get things off the ground if we're going to make it a success. The words tumbled like rocks in Jack's stomach. Investors? I don't even know where to start with that. Let us tackle it step by step, David reassured him. But Jack's mind raced, tangled with fear of failure. What if he couldn't get the funds? What if this dream unraveled before it even began? He looked out the window, seeing families walk by, their laughter ringing like music. Could he really be part of this world? A part of something bigger? Jack, David interrupted his thoughts. What if you focused on your unique selling point? Parents want meaning in their children's toys. Let us highlight that. The idea sparked something within Jack. You're right. It's all about connection, about building memories. David smiled, clearly pleased. That's the spirit. Let us brainstorm ideas for a crowdfunding campaign. If we can tell your story well, people will back you. Feeling the tension ease slightly, Jack took a deep breath. Okay, I'm on board. Let us do this. A wave of energy washed over him, replacing the remnants of doubt. It felt exhilarating, like standing at the edge of a diving board, ready to leap. But just as he began to explore new possibilities, a flash of anxiety burst through him. Could he truly share his story without inviting judgment? That was the real challenge, wasn't he? As ideas flowed between them, Jack couldn't shake the weight of his history. What would it take for him to let go, to trust again? With excitement swirling, he felt a new tension building. Was he ready to take that leap into the uncertain waters of his past while chasing his future? Jack, are you with me? David's voice pulled him from the contemplative fog. You let us go? He breathed, and as hope flickered like a candle against the doubt, Jack realized he was finally on a path. But the question lingered: what ghost from his past would rise to challenge him along the way? Jack sat at the small table, the aroma of fresh coffee wafting around him. His heart raced, a cocktail of excitement and fear. With every word David spoke, ideas began to crystallize in his mind, shifting from abstract wishes into tangible possibilities. The warm light from overhead illuminations felt like encouragement, urging him forward. Okay, let us break it down. What makes your toys special? David prompted, leaning in with interest. Jack took a moment, recalling the late nights spent crafting each piece, envisioning children laughing and learning. They're not just toys, he stated, his voice gaining strength. They're tools for imagination. Every toy tells a story, promotes creativity, even connection. I want families to experience that together. David nodded, clearly impressed. That's exactly it. Think about how you can share this on a platform showing those connections. Showcase real families playing together, sharing laughter. You could create videos, write stories. Videos, Jack exclaimed. I could film some sessions at the market, capturing parents and kids interacting with the toys that highlight the joy. Exactly. And let us gather testimonials, David suggested excitedly. Parents love to share their experiences. Their words could attract others. Jack felt a spark ignite inside of him. This wasn't just about selling toys. It was about building a community. He could envision a campaign, every detail carefully woven to speak directly to parents' hearts. Let us call it Joy Makers, Jack said suddenly. A name that reflects what we're doing. It's about making moments of joy. David applauded the idea. That's catchy. People will remember it. Emboldened, Jack sketched ideas on the napkin in front of him. We could have a launch day, outdoor activities, giveaways, families playing together, and we could crowdsource the whole event. People love supporting local. Each word started to flow easier, the vision becoming more vibrant. The weight in Jack's chest lightened with every thought. The fear began to transform into a heartbeat of determination. But then, a pang hit him, a familiar dread creeping back in. What if no one cares? What if I pour everything into this and it fails? His voice wavered, the shadow of doubt gnawing at him. David's expression softened. You know what? Every successful venture started as a risk. You can't let fear dictate your path, Jack. Remember why you started. This passion, this connection you have, it can resonate with others. Jack nodded, but his heart still danced with uncertainty. Would he really be able to share his story with the world? Could he handle the scrutiny that came with putting his dream into the open? Let us set up a meeting with the local business incubator. They offer workshops on funding and mentorship, David suggested, his eyes bright with possibility. You don't have to do this alone. Idea like that, Jack sighed, feeling a warmth at the thought of community helping him rise. As they wrapped up their meeting, Jack noticed families leaving the coffee shop, smiles on faces, hands holding laughter. He thought about how toys bridged connections, and maybe this was the start of that for him, too. Let us do it, David. I'm ready to bring Joy Makers to life, he declared, feeling hopeful. But still, the remnants of his insecurities hung on like a whisper. What would it take to unearth the strength he needed? As they stood to leave, David clapped him on the back. Tomorrow starts with the first step. We'll tackle whatever comes next together. Feeling a flicker of trust ignite, Jack took a deep breath. Yet, even as excitement surged within, he knew the struggle was just beginning. With his heart pounding in anticipation, Jack looked down the bustling street. Uncertainty and enthusiasm tangled within him, as he questioned what challenges awaited. What walls might he need to break down to reach his dreams? The journey upward felt steep. But one thing was for sure, he was determined to climb. Would he find the courage to chase this dream? or would his past hinder his path? The next morning, Jack awoke with the sun streaming through his window, casting light on the clutter of sketches, toy prototypes, and notes scattered across his desk. He felt a strange sense of clarity amidst the chaos. It was the start of something new, and an electric current buzzed through him. He took a deep breath and pulled on a simple shirt. Today was about action, taking that first step. Over coffee, he rehearsed his pitch to the business incubator, imagining how he would explain his vision for joy makers. As he walked to the incubator, every step felt like a heartbeat, a reminder of the passion propelling him. The streets were alive, families gathered in parks, and children laughing while riding their bicycles. It struck him how much joy was around, waiting to be connected through what he was creating. The building stood bright and welcoming, glass glimmering under the sun. He walked in and was immediately greeted by a friendly receptionist. "Good morning. You must be Jack. They're expecting you," she said with a bright smile that eased his nerves. In the meeting room, he found a group of mentors waiting, each with friendly faces and open notebooks. A soft-spoken woman introduced herself as Sheila, the head of the incubator. "We're here to help you develop your idea. Let us hear about joy makers." Jack took a deep breath and shared his vision. He lit up as he spoke about families bonding, the laughter shared over imaginative play, and his hopes for the community events that could spring up from this simple idea. Their nods and smiles fueled his enthusiasm. "Kids need more of that," a mentor named Greg chimed in. "To really feel connected." "This is powerful, Jack." As he explained his plan for launch day outdoor activities, collaborations with local artists, and videos capturing the spark of play, Jack felt as though he was crafting something much larger than toys. He was weaving a tapestry of community and connection. Questions flowed naturally from them. "How will you market this? What is your budget?" Jack answered, more confidently than he anticipated. But then came the tougher questions, the ones that sent his heart racing. What if families don't respond? What is your backup plan? And there it was, the shadow of doubt creeping in again. What if no one showed up? What if he spent all his savings and effort, and it crumbled? His heart weighed heavily as he answered, I believe in the power of connection. That itself is worth pursuing, even if it doesn't look perfect." A silence hung in the air, but Sheila smiled warmly. "That's the spirit we need in a community leader. Belief is a powerful currency." With each mentor sharing their own stories of struggle and triumph, Jack began to feel the weight lift, light penetrating the seams of his doubt. It dawned on him that everyone struggles, everyone has fears. By the end of the meeting, they encouraged him to take advantage of marketing workshops and mentorship programs. They offered to help him apply for some startup grants, too. Hope blossomed in his chest, filling the space left by fear. As he stepped outside, the world didn't seem as daunting. He had allies now. The uncertainty that had once paralyzed him transformed into energy, guiding him toward what lay ahead. With excitement bubbling in his chest, he remembered the families he had seen earlier, the laughter echoing in his mind. They were waiting for him to reach out to truly connect. But just as he was about to walk away, a deep voice called out behind him. "Hey, are you Jack?" Jack turned, and there stood a man in a suit with a friendly but intense look in his eyes. "I heard about your ideas. I want in, and I might just have the funding to help you realize your passion." Jack's heart raced as he faced this unexpected opportunity. Could this be the moment that changes everything? Would he be able to bring joy makers to life in a way he never imagined? Jack's breath hitched, caught somewhere between disbelief and exhilaration. The man's confident posture and sparkling eyes radiated hope. "I'm Tom," he said, extending a hand that felt like a lifeline. "I specialize in helping startups geared toward community engagement. Your passion? It's magnetic." Jack shook his hand, still trying to grasp the reality of what was happening. "I really appreciate your interest. I'm just figuring it all out." Tom flashed a knowing grin. "That's how all great ventures start. Let us sit down and talk. I'm curious to hear more about your plans." They found a corner table at a nearby cafe, where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mixed with the chatter of families enjoying their Saturday. Jack felt a tad out of place in the bustling warmth of the cafe, engulfed by the swirl of excitement. Yet he couldn't shake the doubt lingering in the back of his mind. What if Tom was just another dreamer like him? "So, tell me about joy makers," Tom urged, leaning in. Jack opened up, describing his vision with renewed vigor. Every detail spilled out his dreams of community gatherings, colorful outdoor spaces filled with laughter, and toys that sparked imagination. I want to create a bridge, a place for families to connect, Jack said, his voice growing stronger with each sentence. When kids play and their parents engage, that's where the magic happens. I love that, Tom replied. You've got something special here. But what about your strategy? How do you get this off the ground? Jack hesitated. I've lined up workshops and mentorship programs ideally. Some funds would help. Tom raised an eyebrow, his expression encouraging. Investment can come in many forms: money, advice, connections. Let us see what we can do together. His heart raced. Was this real? Could this man truly help him? As they discussed possibilities, Tom shared anecdotes of his own bumps and successes along the way. Jack found himself captivated by the stories of struggle and resilience. There was hope in every word. Yet just as enthusiasm built up inside him, Jack's anxiety returned. But what if it fails? I can't afford to let my daughter down. She believes in this just as much as I do. Tom paused, understanding etched across his features. Jack, hear me out. The fear of failure always hovers around entrepreneurs. But it's not about the fear, it's about the journey. If you're passionate and diligent, you've already won half the battle. His words lingered like sunlight peeking through thick clouds, illuminating Jack's worries. After hours of brainstorming and sharing ideas, Tom leaned back in his chair, a spark igniting in his eyes. I want to help you get this off the ground. Let us set up a pitch for a small funding round. We'll present to some local investors who care about community. You'll see. Jack felt a swell of gratitude, mixed with disbelief. This felt surreal. As Tom sketched out some ideas on a napkin, Jack glimpsed a future filled with color, a future that was no longer a distant dream, but a pathway being paved right in front of him. Let us do it, Jack said, his voice steady. Let us make joy makers a reality. With a smile that matched the brightness of the sunny afternoon spilling into the cafe, Tom nodded. Just then, a familiar laughter echoed outside, drawing Jack's gaze. A group of children raced by, their faces dappled with joy, gleefully chasing a balloon floating high in the air. Jack felt a rush of determination. This is why he had started. This is why he was willing to fight through the doubt. As they stood to leave, the structure of possibility felt solid. But just before stepping out into the world again, Tom turned to Jack with an intensity that made him pause. One more thing, all this doesn't mean the journey will be easy. Be ready for challenges, but I promise you it's worth it. Jack nodded, heart racing once more. I'm ready. The excitement of the unknown danced in the air as they walked down the street, envisioning a bright future ahead. Just as they were about to part ways, Jack's phone buzzed with a text. He hesitated, a frown forming as he read the message. It was from his daughter, her innocent words cutting through the excitement like a sharp blade. Daddy, are you really going to make it happen? A moment of doubt seeped back into his thoughts. What if he failed her? But before he could spiral, Tom laid a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Remember, Jack, it's not just about reaching the destination, it's about how you get there. Together, we will find that joy. Jack felt a flicker of hope igniting once again. Could this be the beginning of everything he longed for? With determination swelling in his chest, he wiped away thoughts of failure. Could this partnership be the catalyst for unimaginable greatness? As they parted ways, Jack looked back, knowing the next steps were filled with uncertainty. But for the first time, he felt hopeful. The joy of possibility lay in wait, and all it took was a leap of faith. What awaited him next? Would they truly be able to spark a revolution of connectivity and joy, or would the weight of expectations pull him under? Jack stood outside the cafe, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows on the pavement. His phone buzzed again, the screen lighting up with his daughter's name. He hesitated for a moment, unsure of how to respond. The innocence in her words tugged at him, a reminder of the weight he carried. Daddy, are you really going to make it happen? He typed a quick reply, assuring her that everything was going to be all right. But doubt nagged at him. What if he couldn't deliver? What if this plan crumbled under the pressure? Taking a deep breath, he tucked his phone away. Tom's encouraging words echoed in his mind. It wasn't just about the destination, it was about the journey. He could already feel the excitement bubbling beneath his anxiety. They were going to pitch to investors, to share his vision, his dream. With renewed determination, Jack headed toward the park where he used to take Emma. The vibrant, sprawling space buzzed with families enjoying the day. As he approached, he envisioned the gatherings joy makers could host. Laughter, joy, and connections swirling in the air like the bright colors of kites dancing overhead. He sank onto a bench, the world bustling around him as he closed his eyes for a moment. The song of children's laughter filled his ears. It was the kind of joy he wanted to harness, a bridge for families to connect, for children to play freely, for parents to share moments that mattered. Just then, a little boy raced past him, a string of colorful balloons in his hand, his excitement infectious. Jack smiled, his heart swelling. Memories of Emma's laughter, her wide-eyed wonder at simple pleasures flooded back. He couldn't imagine letting her down. Suddenly, a pang of reality hit. What if he couldn't secure the funding they needed? What if his dreams remained just that, dreams? Gripping the bench, he fought back the rising tide of panic, realizing he had to believe even if it felt uncomfortable. Jack's phone buzzed again, breaking into his thoughts. It was Tom, suggesting that they meet the following week to start preparing for the pitch. "Let us build this together," the text read, and Jack replied with a quick thumbs up. Amidst the chaos of thoughts, a flicker of excitement ignited in him. Maybe this was the lifeline he needed. Help, direction, partnership, words that offered a glimmer of hope. As he got up from the bench, determination surged through him. He walked past children playing tag, families picnicking, and friends connecting over shared moments. Joy Makers wasn't just a vision anymore. It was turning into a reality with each step he took. Arriving home, Jack opened the door to find Emma sprawled on the floor, surrounded by crayon drawings of fantastical creatures. She looked up, eyes shining. "Daddy, look what I made." He knelt beside her, his heart lightening. "Wow, those are amazing. You've got a real talent." Her smile was contagious, lighting his worry-filled mind. In that moment, he realized the true essence of what he wanted to create. It wasn't only about a business. It was about a legacy of connection and joy, a place where families could come together. "Do you believe in me?" he asked her softly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Of course. You're my daddy. You can do anything." Her unwavering confidence filled him with warmth. Jack smiled, breath steadying. "Okay, let us make this happen together." That night, as he tucked Emma into bed, he looked down at her peaceful face. "No matter what happens, I'm going to try my best," he whispered. But deep down, part of him wondered, what if this wasn't just a leap toward his dream, but a leap into an unknown that would change everything? Tomorrow would bring a new adventure, one step closer to making Joy Makers a reality. But how far was he willing to go? What challenges awaited him on this journey? Would he emerge stronger, or would fear hold him back? As he turned off the light, Jack felt the weight of uncertainty loom over him. But with it came a flicker of resolve. Would the next step lead him to success or push him over the edge? Jack stood before the bustling crowd, the midday sun gleaming over the colorful booths at the annual fair. The familiar sounds of laughter and cheerful chatter surrounded him, wrapping him in a blanket of nostalgia and hope. This was the moment, the culmination of late nights spent drafting plans and gathering support. He could feel the weight of the expectations he had placed on himself, but this time, it felt different. He was ready. With Maria at his side, he stepped forward to face the eager families milling about. Today wasn't just about selling toys. It was about sharing his passion. He wanted to convey the magic behind each handcrafted piece, each one a spark for creativity, connection, and joy within families. "Hey everyone," Jack called out, his voice amplified by enthusiasm. "Welcome to Joy Makers. Here, you'll find toys that inspire your child's imagination. Each toy tells a story and opens a door to adventure." The crowd paused, intrigued by his energy. Kids turned to look, their eyes widening at the table filled with vibrant wooden toys. There were tiny cars, whimsical animals, and dolls that sparkled under the sun. The colors danced before the children's eyes, vibrant echoes of laughter and wonder. Jack locked eyes with a little girl, her hair bright against the pastel hues of the toys. She smiled back, her excitement bubbling over as she reached for a tiny blue car. "Can I hold it?" she asked, voice tinged with innocence. "Absolutely," Jack exclaimed, delighted by the moment. "Check this out. It's not just a car, it's a ticket to an adventure. Imagine racing through imaginary lands." He watched, heart swelling, As her imagination lit up, parents began to gather around, captivated by the stories he spun with his words. Jack reveled in their attentiveness, feeling the validation he needed. This was why he had fought through all that doubt. The joy in their eyes was priceless. As the hours slipped by, a crowd began to form. With every interaction, Jack's confidence blossomed. People lined up to purchase the toys, the festive atmosphere fueling his passion. Laughter, bright colors, and joyous families surrounded him, a beautiful symphony of life. "Jack, look!" Maria cheered, her excitement contagious. By the end of the day, the table was nearly bare, each toy finding a new home. Families connected through the shared joy of imagination, just as Jack had envisioned. But just as triumph danced within reach, a harsh voice cut through the celebration. "Think you can actually make this a business, Jack?" It was Dan again, sneering as he approached. "Where's that pride now?" Jack's heart dropped momentarily, the familiar sting of judgment resurfacing. But instead of letting insecurity invade him, his determination surged. He wasn't that broken man anymore. He was more than just a toy seller, he was building a brand rooted in connection. "Actually, Dan," Jack replied steadily, meeting his gaze, "I'm rebuilding my dreams. It's about showing my kids that it's worth it to take risks and stand tall, no matter the obstacles." The words hung in the air, a firm declaration surrounded by laughter and joy. In that moment, something shifted. Jack caught glimpses of admiration in the faces of onlookers, their murmurs transforming from judgment to respect. Dan scoffed, shaking his head and backing away, but Jack didn't let it affect him. Instead, he focused on the families around him, who had begun forming connections over the toys. He was creating a community, a movement. All the doubts faded into the background noise. Later that evening, the fair began to wind down, lights twinkling like stars above. Jack plopped down on a bench beside Maria, breathing in the satisfaction of their hard work. "I can't believe we did it. We sold almost everything," he said, laughter shaking his voice. Maria grinned, her eyes sparkling. "You did it, Jack. You found your voice." Jack felt the weight lift off his chest. He faced judgment and fear, yet had emerged stronger. "Yeah, but it's only the beginning. I'll reach out to investors with Tom. We're just getting started on building joy makers." A familiar sound interrupted their conversation. The laughter of children echoed nearby. Turns out when kids play, they bring everyone together. Jack glanced at the scene, his heart filled with gratitude. Life was full of possibilities. He was no longer merely struggling. He was thriving, standing firmly at the helm of his journey. "Thank you, Maria," he said, a lump forming in his throat, "for believing in me." "Always," she replied, a warm smile crossing her lips. As they looked towards the fading carnival lights, Jack felt a powerful realization. This wasn't about just toys or business. It was about legacy, teaching his children courage, perseverance, and the importance of connection. In that moment, he embraced the reality that success didn't solely lie in profit. It lay in shared laughter, unique experiences, and memories crafted with love. With a renewed heart, Jack understood that facing the future wouldn't always be easy, but he was more than ready. As he turned to leave, the night wrapped gently around them, and he could already see the beginnings of something beautiful ahead. This was only the start. With every challenge that appeared on the horizon, he would meet it head-on. Standing tall with his family beside him, he realized they formed the true essence of joy makers. The fair eventually faded into the distance, but the echo of laughter would resonate forever, illuminating every corner of his heart, reminding him that every story, every life, and every connection we make is worth cherishing. Now let us make it happen. Subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that inspire, uplift, and ignite passion. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm and share the love. Your reactions mean everything to us, so comment below and tell us how you felt about Jack's incredible transformation. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this journey. Real supporters make a difference, and we're counting on you.